Now, in response to questions that Mr. Niels asked you yesterday, you described an extensive process of legal review that the United States government undertook between November 17th, 1985 and January 17th, 1986 in order to properly structure the Iran arms sales transactions. Is that correct?
I'm not tracking completely, Counsel. You're talking about between November 17th,
85 and January 17th, 1986. You described a process, and this is simply a predicate for the next question, but you described a process in which there were extensive consultations between yourself, the Department of Defense, the CIA, in an effort to make sure that the future sales, in fact, complied with the law.
That is indeed correct.
Did it ever occur to you at the time that anyone might later suggest that since the weapons were United States weapons, the proceeds of the sales were United States funds?
Never.
Never occurred to anyone involved in the planning of these transactions that that might be a problem?
No, and in fact, the specific indication I had, Counsel, was that the government of the United States would charge what it thought it was owed for those weapons. And somehow there may be a perception that I somehow influenced the price downward. That is not the case. Every effort was made to determine what the proper price should be. And when we discuss things this evening, we can talk about the status of some of those weapons, of what would have become of them otherwise, at least as I was told. And it was not an issue of replacement value that was ever raised with me. That was never an issue. I was always told that here is the current cost or current value of those weapons. That was passed to the Central Intelligence Agency, who in turn passed it to me. I passed it to General Secord, and that amount was transferred through whose ever account, whether it be Israeli, as I first thought it was, or Ghorbrani Farr, but eventually to General Secord, and then to the CIA, and then to the Pentagon. And so no one ever raised with me the suggestion that there was any more money due the U.S. government.
Can you tell the committee whether or not you ever informed any of the people in the departments or agencies with whom you were dealing that in fact somebody would be collecting a whole lot more money for these weapons than the United States government was going to get during that same period of time?
Director Casey knew well, and I believe that anyone else who was in receipt of the intelligence at that point in time knew well. Admiral Poindexter knew well. I mean, they all knew that there were monies. The DOD charged $500 for something that was eventually being sold to the Iranians for $1,000 or whatever. That there was a delta between the cost paid to the U.S. government and the cost put into the fund, which was eventually being used to support